Welcome to our NEC Football Google Hangout. I'm Ralph Ventre, and I'm here in Somerset, New Jersey for the Week 13 edition of our NEC Football Hangout. I'll be joined by two men in just a few moments, and these two guys, they actually won't be playing in Week 13. That's because Sacred Heart has a Week 13 bye, but their season is far from over. As you may know, the Pioneers are headed back to the FCS playoffs. Second year in a row, they'll be headed into the 2014 championship bracket. We'll talk about that and a lot more with two Sacred Heart Pioneers. But first, let me remind you that today's Google Hangout is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com. Well, two members of the Sacred Heart Pioneers. We have one on defense, one on offense. Let's welcome in linebacker Kevin Barry and H-back, fullback, tight end, whatever you want to call him, Pat Casey. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. I'm going to kick it off with Kevin here because, Kevin, you're a sophomore, and your second year playing, and this is all you know. 2 titles in 2 years. How fortunate do you feel to be going back to the FCS playoffs for the second time in only 2 years of playing college football?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure to come into a program that's been successful these past 2 years. I mean, even Pat was telling me the year before I came in, I mean, times are rough going 2-9 to 3-9 before that, I think. I mean, it's just a pleasure to be here right now.
And, Pat, I'll ask you, senior year, back-to-back NEC titles, how good does it feel to be a Pioneer right now?
It was great to be a Pioneer. It was, like you said, it was a rough time going that 2-9 season. So, it's great that it was we changed it around and ended up being on top of things with the championships, 2 championships.
Well, the reason why you're back-to-back champions is because you posted a 14-7 victory over Bryant. It was our NEC Game of the Week on ESPN3 back in Week 12. Of course, it was 7-7 until the last few minutes of the game. Let's take a look back at Saturday for a second. And maybe, Pat, you want to chime in first. Describe what it meant to win on Campus Field on Saturday, to play in that atmosphere, and to come out on top against a good Bryant team, a nationally ranked Bryant team.
Well, first of all, it was just a pleasure to be there in that position. Being here at home on Campus Field for our last game, we've never had that. I've never had that for 4 years. And just to be in that position to win the NEC championship was just phenomenal. It was a great experience, and it was my senior day. So I'm sure all of the seniors, Coach Nofri wanted it for all of us. And, it was great that we got into that opportunity, and, we came out on top, and we definitely didn't want to lose that game because, it would have been our last if we did. So that's why we tried our best to win it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the game in particular. I'm going to ask Kevin now because it was 7-7, and we know the offense did what they had to do when they needed to do it to win the game. But the fact of the matter is that was a tight ball game pretty much from start to finish. The offense sputtered at times before that beautiful final drive. Kevin, as a defensive player now, how does it feel to play in that situation? Pressurized game, and 7-7, one big play can change the whole complexion of the game. What's the mindset as a defensive player in that tight situation? Or do you just kind of tune everything out?
I mean, it's an ideal nervous situation, especially for a sophomore. I mean, you're playing on the biggest stage in the NEC right now. But as a mindset, I mean, you're prepared to play. I mean, you're prepared all week. There's no point of being nervous. You got to let the game play as it goes. Anything can happen.
Now, the offense did get into the end zone twice, and Pat, you had one of the touchdowns. What did it feel like to get your team on the scoreboard 7-0 early on senior day on that pass play?
It felt great. It was a good read by RJ, and I caught it. I was just making sure I had to catch it. I caught it. I fell down right away because I was just like, we got to catch this ball. So I caught it, and then got up. The whole team was freaking out. The whole stands are going nuts. It was a great feeling, especially being on the senior day and during the NEC championship. It couldn't have been anything better.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand. It sounds like there may have been a little jitters there on the play. Obviously, things happen so quick, you may not have time to think about it, but let's be honest, Pat, you're not used to being in that position all the time, wide open in the end zone with the ball coming your way.
Yeah, I know. It happens every once in a while, but I got to make sure when it happens, I'm going to make it happen. So.
Now you have gotten into the end zone a few times this year, and how can we forget? One of them was in an unconventional way. Of course, Sacred Heart gets its field goal attempt blocked by Wagner, and your Johnny on the spot falls right into your arms, and you alertly run this thing in. You rumble in 24 yards for a touchdown. Which touchdown meant more? I take it that they're both pretty important, but the first touchdown that we're referencing, that one got you on the SportsCenter top 10. You got your 15 minutes of fame out of that one. How did that feel, Pat?
That was the SportsCenter thing. I had no idea it was going to be on SportsCenter. It was just a heads-up play. Our coaches always tell us that always look for the ball if it gets blocked. So I picked it up, ran to the end zone, and just tried to make the play. And then on this one, the NEC championship, it was. I think that was more important to me because it was for my team, to give us the victory for the NEC, and that was like our whole main goal this year, and it really helped us. So I mean, I love the 15 minutes of fame. It was unexpected, but definitely, I would have to say this pass touchdown I liked a lot.
Well, I kind of feel bad for Preston Sanford because in that same Wagner game where you returned a blocked field goal, he returned a blocked field goal. That guy went 96 yards for a touchdown. He gets no love on SportsCenter. You rumbled 24 yards, and you get in the top 10. So, I mean, let me just give Preston Sanford a shout-out, too,
Yeah, I tried hitting him up on Twitter, telling SportsCenter, I was like, listen, it should be both of us on here, not just him. Not just me. So, he had a great play, too, so.
Now, I got a question here that's a little bit outside of football, Pat. Well, it is related to football because, let's face it, football is tailgating, and tailgating is football. There's this big guy, Big Bill Casey. It's your dad.
Yeah.
Now, what's his deal? Is he like the master chef or grill daddy when it comes to these Sacred Heart tailgate parties?
Yeah, he's got the biggest tailgate in the NEC, I guarantee it. I mean, he's got this big trailer. He's got all our pictures on it and stuff like that. It's awesome. And, he's making steak for us, and he's doing all kinds of great things. And he loves tailgating. He calls it tailgate season, not football season, because he's an absolute fan. Him and my Uncle Dave, the other guy that's always on Twitter, he lives in Florida. He's in the Navy, actually, and they're always watching my games, and they're tailgating. He's tailgating all the way across the country, and so they love it. They absolutely love it.
So your uncle's tailgating for games that he's going to watch on Front Row or on ESPN3, basically.
Exactly.
It's a pregame tailgate party, even though he's not actually at the game.
Yeah, half my family lives down there, so they're all watching watching my games down there. So it's just they love it. They love it. They text me every time after a game, and they tell me how good of a game I did and stuff like that. So.
Well, that's impressive. I guess tailgating is in your blood, part of the Casey tradition, it sounds like. How did it all come about, though, Pat? How did your dad step into this role as let's call him, the president of the shoe tailgate party? How did it all happen?
Well, when I came here my freshman year, there were only like a few tailgates, and Sacred Heart didn't really have a tailgate village. They just had like a few, like they had a parking lot with a few cars or whatever. And my dad was just, like we always had so much people that came up, so he really made sure to make it a big tailgate. And he always wanted everybody to come in and try his food. So it ended up starting to be like a huge thing. And then we got the tailgate village, and now we have so much tailgaters, and it's honestly one of the big reasons why we've come to where we are now, because there's so many fans that go now because of the tailgates, and I mean not just because of the tailgates, because we've been winning, but it's been definitely helping. It's awesome.
So I guess that's one way to boost attendance. Bill Casey, the tailgate there, accounting for some of the rise in attendance at these Pioneer games. Kevin, I want to ask you, obviously you've probably been down to that tailgate before. What's Bill Casey's best dish?
I don't really know. I'd probably have to say sausage and peppers or something like that. It's just a classic dish. It's awesome.
And now, what about your dad, Kevin? Does he get behind the grill at all, or does he just hang out and eat down there?
My dad, Mark, yes, he does a little bit. Nothing compared to Casey's dad, but he does. He tries his best. It's pretty good.
Well, that's great. I have to say that I wish I had a taste of this Bill Casey cuisine. Maybe I'll make it to the FCS playoff game and stop by Tailgate Village. But let's take it back to football now. The FCS playoff game in particular. I remember last year at Fordham, of course, you dropped 37-27 final, but there were 2 points in the fourth quarter where you're down 34-27, and you just couldn't convert. The look of the team after the game was something of a missed opportunity. In my opinion, looking at the guys walking off the field, it appeared as if they felt that they let one slip away. Fordham may have been the favorite, but I got the sense that you guys believed you were more than good enough to win. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, and also what's the confidence level like going into the FCS playoffs this year, this time around, now that you have some experience?
Yeah. I mean, it was a heartbreaking loss last year. I mean, we played our hearts out against Fordham. Just came up 10 points short. I mean, we fought to the very end, but I wouldn't say there's a. It definitely was a missed opportunity, but I think we're just as hungry as this year to go into the playoffs and try and get past that first round. I mean.
What about you, though, Pat? What's your confidence level like? You got a taste of it last year, and you were right there. You could have won the game. You had a lead at a different point at some points in the game. Are you guys going in? Obviously, we don't know who you're playing yet. We won't find that out until Sunday, November 23rd. Of course, that'll be 11 a.m. on ESPNU. We'll have the selection show. But we don't know who you're playing, but the bottom line is you have experience. Do you feel confident going in that, hey, we're going into this thing, we're ready to win, we're ready to survive, we're ready to advance and make a run?
Yeah, I definitely think we're confident. We obviously, last year was the first time in the FCS playoffs for Sacred Heart, and we definitely want to make it to the next round, even more rounds if we can, keep going, keep the ball rolling, use what happened last week and, put it on towards the playoff game because, we really want to win, and we're going to do everything we can, just like we have been doing for the past weeks, and we will find a way to come on top. So.
Now, in terms of the team itself, before we wrap it up here, I want to break down the offense and defense briefly. I'm going to start with Kevin, and I'm going to talk about the defense for a second. I want to mention this fellow by the name of Troy Moore. He's a big defensive lineman, tackle, and they move him all around. And he was NEC Defensive Player of the Year last year. This year, he doesn't have very gaudy numbers, but he's doing a pretty good job in the trenches. And I noticed guys like you, Kevin, and one of your mates, James Rentz, another linebacker, you guys are making all the big plays, all the big tackles, but I think Troy's setting that up for you guys a little bit. So just tell me what Troy means to that defense and how he makes you and James better players.
I mean, Troy's an enormous presence on the field. Every time they're the main. Every offense that goes against us, he's the main person in the circle. I'm sure. You need to block him on the front line. I mean, every time no one double teams him or something like that, he's making a play in the backfield. But I think against Duquesne or something like that, he told me after the game that he was being triple teamed almost every play, and it opened up massive amounts of holes for me and Rentz to make tackles. He's just a beast.
Now, what about Rentz? How is it playing alongside that guy?
Rentz is they're kind of take the mind off Rentz, but Rentz is just as good as, if not better than Troy. I feel like.
And let's talk a little bit about the secondary playing behind you. You got guys like Gordon Hill, all veterans really. Dennis, J.D. Roussel, Thomas. So many vets. Talk a little bit about that secondary and what's their role on this defense? How do they make this thing work? Obviously, Sacred Heart, a nationally ranked defense for the second year in a row.
I mean, I feel like they're the heartbeat to our defense. I mean, we can't run all our pressures and everything that we do to get these sacks every day without them covering in the back end. The four of them, JD, Steph, Preston, Dennis, G, all of them together, they're just like five best friends. They know everything about each other. They're just like one heartbeat playing, I guess.
One heartbeat, no pun intended, right? Sacred Heart. Come on, guys, give me a laugh. That was a good one.
Good one. It was good.
Thank you. Pat, I want to ask you now, from an offensive perspective, about this defense. What exactly makes them so effective? It seems like everybody's always flying to the ball and they play with a lot of energy, but you're an offensive player. What do you see from the Pioneer D?
Well, Coach Wisman does a great job with them. All of them, like he said, they all have one heartbeat. And they're very close together, and the DBs do a great job. I actually went to school with Gordon, so I know how he plays. I went to high school with him, and they all do a great job getting turnovers, and when they get turnovers, it's easy for us to answer off that, and that really affects teams when you score off a turnover. So they do a great job, and they're a really big team in our in Sacred Heart. So appreciate everything they do because they help us out a lot.
And of course, you mentioned you went to high school with Gordon. You guys are from South Jersey. I won't hold that against you. I'm more of a Jersey Shore guy, a little further north. But obviously, Sacred Heart, a very strong recruiting presence down in South Jersey. A number of guys from that area on the Pioneers. But now, Pat, I want to ask you a little bit about your offense, the unit that you're a part of. I don't want to sell these guys short. They're not too bad. You have a solid sophomore quarterback. You have a great senior tandem in the backfield with Sean Bell and Shorty Spence. You have, obviously, yourself, Tim Goodwin, and, of course, you got this guy, Tyler Doobie. I mean, we could talk about the line, Jimmy Martinez, and so on. This offense here, what makes you guys so special? Give us some insight here on this Pioneers attack.
Well, I mean, we all have a lot of experience. We won a championship last year, an NEC championship last year, and we know we played with each other for a year, and we know what everyone does, and we trust each other, and that's a huge part in the game, trusting one another. We've been playing for so long, for 4 years. We've been through everything with each other, and Tyler Doobie making plays, and RJ coming in, and last year he was a freshman. We didn't know what to expect of him, and he did a great job, being a freshman. And him and, the Tyler Doobie connection is doing a great thing. And, the running backs, Kachadis and Sean Bell, they're complementing each other. So that's like another weapon that we have. And they do a really good job. I mean, we all try to lead lead the team, all of us seniors, and that's how we got another NEC win this year, NEC championship.
Now, what's your role in particular? I guess you're listed as a fullback, but you strike me as kind of like a hybrid back. You split out sometimes. You're catching passes. You're not just blocking on the rushing attack, right? What would you call yourself?
Well, we're the H-back, I guess. It's almost like a half tight end, half fullback kind of deal. We just changed that this year, and it's pretty much we do almost everything. Fullback stuff, we do tight end stuff, we block, we catch, we can run the ball, and it's a little bit of everything. But it's great,
No, I was going to ask you, are they going to give you a chance to get a couple carries once in a while? Maybe I haven't seen that. I mean, you showed off your skills on that Wagner touchdown on the blocked field goal, rumbling and stumbling into the end zone. Maybe in a goal line package or something.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all Coach Bowles. I whatever happens. But as long as we're winning, that's what makes me happy. So.
Of course, and you guys are winning 9 wins, 9-2, and I don't expect you to give away any secrets here as to plays coming up. With the FCS playoffs coming up, but anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I want to congratulate you again on a phenomenal season, 2 in a row. Obviously, so difficult just to win one championship. Then with the target on your back, you win a second one. So congratulations. And before we break, I'll just leave the last word to you guys. Anything to say? Anyone who you want to shout out, or you have any playoff predictions for us? Actually, you know what? I want to ask you guys, what are you doing on Saturday? You're off. You're going to be watching some NEC football?
I'm going to my high school game.
Okay. What about you, Pat?
I'll probably be watching all kinds of college football. We don't really get a chance to do that, so I'll definitely be doing that and hanging out with the guys, and so that's probably what I'm going to be doing.
Anything else you guys want to say? Any shout outs, Kevin, Pat? No?
Shout out to Chris Rogers.
Shout
Rogers.
Shout out to my whole house, Liam, Craig, all those guys, and my family, my dad, and my Uncle Dave, and my mom, and everybody at Tailgates.
All right, Tailgate Village with Bill Casey. Hey, tell Bill to take it easy on me on Twitter once in a while, all right? He gets fired up. He comes at me sometimes, Pat.
Oh, I know. He's bad. I got to talk to him.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate you joining us for our Week 13 Google Hangout. Kevin Barry, Pat Casey, back-to-back Sacred Heart, back-to-back NEC champion Sacred Heart Pioneers. For the NEC Football Geico Google Hangout, I'm Ralph Ventre. We'll see you next week. Maybe we'll preview at least one playoff game, the Pioneers, and maybe a second if the NEC were to get in that large team. So stick with us. Plenty of coverage on NECFrontRow.com. Thank you for joining us in the Week 13 Geico Google Hangout. Until next time, folks.